afternoon, everyone. Thank you for coming. Today I'm releasing the first quarter results for Budget 2016. Obviously, it's just 3 months into the budget cycle, and therefore these numbers are very clear indications of how we expect the year to unfold. That said, let me point out some of the first quarter results and updated forecasts. First, I don't need to tell my fellow Albertans that as a result of the oil price shock, the economic headwinds facing Alberta remain strong. Albertans see that every day. Many are suffering significant hardship. This year, those headwinds are blowing even harder as a result of the Wood Buffalo wildfire. Economic growth is expected to contract by 2.7% in 2016, compared to 1.4% projected in the budget. The estimated economic impact of the Wood Buffalo wildfire accounts for 0.6% of this contraction. With respect to the fires in Wood Buffalo at the end of this quarter, we now have a clearer account of how much they will cost Alberta Treasury. As you will see in the report, the Wood Buffalo wildfire is forecast to cost $647 million for the disaster recovery program this fiscal year. Of this, Alberta is expecting to recover $452 million under its disaster assistance arrangement with the federal government. In addition, the Finance Ministry estimates that owing to the wildfire, the amount of lost income tax and royalty revenue is approximately $300 million this fiscal year. When you add it up, the impact on Alberta's bottom line from the Wood Buffalo wildfire is estimated to be $500 million, which, as you can see in the report, is approximately the same amount as the increase of our deficit projection. While there are other changes from our budget plan reflected in this report, essentially, were it not for the Wood Buffalo wildfire, the deficit projection this year would be on track. Let me point out some of the other highlights in this report. First, operating expenses are in line with the Budget 2016 forecast. At this point in the year, we're projecting that operating expenses will rise by $122 million, or 0.3% on a $44 billion budget. This small forecasted increase primarily results from additional pressures related to healthcare spending on drugs and health benefits. These health benefit programs support low-income Albertans, persons with disabilities, and those on AISH with their health needs. Second, despite the significant reduction in corporate income taxes resulting from the oil price decline, revenues to government are forecasted to increase. This forecast is driven by two factors: increased transfers from the federal government, including the disaster relief assistance that I referred to earlier, and a modest increase in the forecasted price of oil from $42 to $45 per barrel. The updated oil price forecast reflects that the WTI average this year so far has been $45 in this fiscal year, and it is in line with the updated private sector forecasts that we've collected. However, given the volatility in oil prices over the last 2 years, one has to be very cautious when making these assumptions. Therefore, we are maintaining our full $700 million risk adjustment in this forecast to protect our budget from the potential decline in oil prices. And third, government expenses are forecasted to rise, driven primarily by the cost of disaster assistance, some of which is offset by the federal government transfers to the province, along with capital grants, also a portion of which is offset by federal transfers. The bottom line is this in this Q1 update. The oil price collapse continues to reverberate through our economy. The Wood Buffalo wildfire has added considerably to the economic impact, reducing revenues and royalties to government. As a result of the wildfire, the deficit is projected to increase by $500 million. At the same time, government's operating spending remains mostly on track. Our aim now, as it has been from the beginning, is to reduce the deficit over time in a thoughtful and prudent manner while protecting the vital public services Alberta families count on. As I said when I tabled Budget 2016 in April, panicked and reckless cuts would only make a tough situation worse for Albertans. That's why our government is also taking decisive action to cushion the economic blow to Albertans and to set the table for recovery. Measures include increased capital spending on much-needed schools, hospitals, and roads. Owing to those investments, 10,000 jobs are being created and sustained over the next 3 years. We have expanded access to capital through ATB and AIMCO to help entrepreneurs launch new businesses. We'll be introducing new tax credits proposed by Alberta's business community to drive innovation and growth, and we have cut small business tax by 33% beginning in 2017. In addition, as I said earlier, we are not downloading the costs of deficits onto average families through knee-jerk cuts to healthcare and education. Albertans know well from the past experience how destructive that approach is. Before I take your questions, let me conclude by saying again that the numbers I am presenting today reflect the real economic hardships facing this province. I know that from my own experience serving my constituents in Calgary Fort. These are difficult times. But if we stick to the plan that controls spending, that protects the critical public services everyday Albertans count on to support their families, and that lays the groundwork for a more resilient and stable economy in the future, we will emerge from this recession stronger than before. Thank you very much. And I'll take some questions.
Minister, the Fort McMurray fire was the costliest disaster in Canadian history, and in this update, you've actually increased the price of oil, and yet you haven't actually touched the risk adjustment. Are you expecting something worse to happen in the next 5 months?
No, I think we're being prudent and cautious, recognizing that oil goes up and down, and we want to leave it there for the time being. In future updates, if we see that the oil price has stabilized and it's tracking above where we believe or at where we believe, we'll consider revising the risk adjustment at that point.
And balance by 2024, is that still the plan?
That's still the plan. We are doing our utmost to control spending. I think as I can show you in this report, we have mostly stayed on track for spending. Operations, I'm very proud of all the work that's been done to keep operations spending at where we said it was going to be. That's just one part, of course, of how we get to balanced budget in the future. The other parts include assisting our economy to diversify, and we are taking actions in that regard. And lastly, we are investing in capital infrastructure, which will put Albertans back to work and to cushion some of the significant downturn in the employment that has happened throughout this province. Though we can't do it all, we are doing our utmost to stick with the plan that will help Alberta get back on track.
On a similar note, you say you want to stick to your goals, etc., but it's one thing to stick to your goals, another to willfully ignore economic reality. When do you actually start maybe making cuts, maybe making a different plan?
So your question is?
When do you actually start making a different plan? Will you ever start making a different plan, or will you just continue doing what you're doing right now? No matter how big the deficit gets, no matter how bad oil prices get, no matter how many fires, destroy the province.
Sure. The plan we have is one that all economists support. It is a non-austerity plan, which continues to recognize that to get out of this downturn, we need to take advantage of the opportunity and the capacity there is in the economy to get better prices, to prepare ourselves for when the economy turns around. We're not going to make knee-jerk cuts. We're not going to make things worse for Albertans. That would be what the opposition probably would do or would have done a long time ago. And we've seen that picture before. It doesn't work out well for Alberta and Albertans.
I think you've seen $58 billion.
Sorry?
I think projected at budget $58 billion in debt by 2019.
What I can tell you is at the end of this fiscal year, we're in the $32 billion. And that is a place where, you know, Alberta hasn't been, but it's necessary at this time to stay with a plan to see a better future by investing, by diversifying, and by supporting Albertans in this downturn.
Are we still at
Yes.
58?
Yeah,
by
we're still on
2019?
track.
Okay.
It's sort of more to the points just made. We've already seen in the first 3 months an additional $1.7 billion in borrowing
Right.
for operating. Is there a ceiling for you where you will have to say enough is enough to borrow for operating?
You know, if we stay with our plan, we'll be fine. We are at this place and time as a result of decades of inaction by the previous government to diversify our economy. We're too narrowly focused on the riches of oil and gas, and when those turn south, this province turns south. They could have done a better job of saving money and investing in our Heritage Trust Fund, but that didn't happen. We're at the point in time where we are taking the necessary steps to assure Albertans that they won't be, you know, this recession won't be put on their backs. We are cushioning the blow, recognizing that we are needing to do that through borrowing.
How does the higher Heritage Trust Fund help this situation?
Oh, there have been greater investments into our general revenue as a result.
Your debt to GDP is now 10.25.
Right.
And you've removed the ceiling. But do you have your own ceiling? Like, as finance minister, we will not, on my watch, go above, say, 20%.
You know, the plan you have in front of you that the budget is built on is my plan. That is sound. That will get us through this if we stick to it. Sticking to it means that unlike the opposition, you know, you don't throw things overboard when times get tough. Previous governments did that. They caused a lot of pain, and we're going to be shouldering the difficulties through the downturn. We're going to be assisting Albertans come out of it in a stronger way when our economy improves as soon as 2017.
But I would think investors would want to know, how high would you go? How high would you go?
Our plan is the plan, so that's what we're going to do.
Unlimited. It could go as high as...
No, what's in the plan is where we're going.
Okay, but help me out here. What is the limit that this government would go to for debt to GDP?
I will tell you that the plan we have approved and before you is the plan I need to deliver as a finance minister. Subsequent hypotheticals are not something I'm prepared to answer.
All right, guys,
Sir.
we're going to go to the phone line, then we'll come back to the floor. So, operator, could you put through McDougall for the first question?
McDougall Center, your line is open.
Thanks so much. Go ahead.
It's Chris Farkle from the Calgary Herald. I have two questions. First off, Minister, you talked a little bit in this document about the impact of the economy from the wildfires, I think of 0.6%. Are you surprised at the impact that it has had upon the economy, both in things of income tax as well as royalty revenues?
Chris, what surprises me is how strong the people in the regional municipality of Wood Buffalo are through all of this. Maybe I should put it a different way. I'm not surprised how strong the people in that area are. They have shouldered a significant challenge, and they are coming through it. The effect on the economy, the effect on resources, both on royalties, is understandable because the oil output was stopped for a significant period of time, you know, not upwards of 2 months, but close to that. So I'm not surprised by all of that. I know that this government, I'm very proud of what this government has done to have the back of people in the Fort McMurray or the regional municipality Wood Buffalo area through this significant downturn.
Just to follow up, the previous government often looked at, when they were posting deficits, often looked at the net financial assets of the province and said, well, we're still actually in the black when you consider them. Can you tell me, are we now officially in a net debt position with the liabilities outstripping the financial assets?
You know, we're in the same position as other provinces. We're probably in a better position than most because we are still stronger than most provinces. Our balance sheet is still stronger, but we are not different than other provinces in that regard.
Right, but have we reached that position where the teeter-totter has gone in the other direction yet?
When you look at all of our assets, we still are in a positive position. That would include all the things that are built in this province that we count on as infrastructure. So we're strong as a province.
Go to the next question at McDougall.
Hi, it's James Wood from the Calgary Herald. I have two questions. Minister, you talked about sticking with the plan. I guess I'm just wondering, in light of the rather bleak economic contraction numbers here, whether you are contemplating any additional measures to as a stimulus for the economy. Are there other measures that you're thinking of that you could do to, I guess, to help boost growth in the short term?
Well, let me just review a few of the things that we're doing and have planned to do. We're bringing in two new tax credits for investors and capital investment. Those will be assisting entrepreneurs and people who want to invest in businesses to support more Alberta businesses to grow and improve. We're also going to be cutting the small business tax rate 33% in 2017, which will put more money into the pockets, allow more money to stay in the pockets of small business people. We're going to be investing 15% more in a capital plan over 5 years in this province, which will put Albertans back to work and get us better value for the necessary infrastructure that has to be built. So, you know, the things we're doing will show significant improvement in this province and help cushion the effects of this downturn in our economy. We are going to be in a better place as a result of this and other things. I can't say that, you know, we're done. I think as we're going forward, we'll consider really good ideas that are brought forward from the business community, like we've already incorporated into our plan.
And I just wanted to ask you if you could respond. I mean, there's criticism ahead of the first quarter report, and it will continue, I assume, where there's opposition parties and some groups are saying that the government has not created a good business climate in the province, that things such as the corporate tax rate increase, the minimum wage increase, the PPA lawsuit have all created an unfriendly business climate, and that is partly responsible for these economic doldrums we're in right now. How do you respond to that criticism from the...
I would say that the things that they would plan to do to Albertans would put the average family in a worse position. The work we're doing is part of what economic experts say is necessary to help cushion and support and turn around investment in a province. We are doing the kinds of things that are necessary. I'm very proud of all the different things that have been done by this government. We're, you know, on the corporate tax side, we're asking businesses, and on the PIT side, we're asking people, those who are more well off, to share more in the repair of this province to put us on a sounder financial basis. And on the minimum wage side, we're definitely assisting low-wage workers to have a bit more money so that they can lead a better life. Those are things that you know, progressive governments do and weren't done in the past because of the ideology of the previous Conservative governments.
We're going to do 2 more questions at McDougall and then come back to the floor. McDougall, go ahead.
Hi, it's Jeff Morgan with the Financial Post. Minister Ceci, the budget was intended to create jobs. Given the numbers that are in this budget in terms of job losses, when do you anticipate the budget will, in fact, start creating net positive jobs?
Sure.
Will that be later this year? Will we need to wait to see new jobs until next year? What do you anticipate?
Well, the economic modeling that ministry officials have given me show that this year 6,000 jobs will be created and sustained, and that'll average out to be 10,000 jobs over the course of this fiscal plan. The government of Alberta is not able to shore up the job losses that have happened in private industry. I mean, this is as a result of a turn down in the economy and the world price of oil. the billions of dollars that have been taken out of the economy as a result of the reduced investment by the oil sector is a tragedy for this province. I mean, but it's not something we can repair. We are doing our utmost to stimulate the economy, diversify the economy, and put us in a better spot when the economy turns around. And through all of that, we're going to have the backs of Albertans. We're not going to throw them on the shoals of this economy troubled seas, because that's not how this government's going to behave. This government's going to behave by saying, we've got your back. We're going to go into some financial debt to assure that Albertans, when they go to the doctor, when they go to the hospitals, when they go to schools, those situations are as normal and wholesome for them as they can possibly be. So we show that as a result of our investment, to get back to your question, 10,000 jobs will be created and sustained, and we'll see those during the course of this plan.
And we'll do one final question for McDougall.
I think we're good for now. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, we'll come back to the floor for
Minister, I'm wondering, rural municipalities are really suffering, some of them anyway, because some resource companies are not paying their taxes. So they're having a hard time coming up with their education property taxes. I know that they've made an appeal to your office as well too. What's your response to them? Is this a time when perhaps a recalculation should be done for rural municipalities in terms of taxes because they aren't getting paid from resource companies?
When you say a recalculation, what are you talking about?
A reprieve or some kind of break.
Kim, I've got a $10.9 billion deficit. There is not a lot of slack or room for me as a finance minister to entertain the challenges that you're talking about.
Minister, when you're saying 10,000 jobs will be created and sustained by this plan, do you mean 10,000 net jobs or 10,000 jobs total?
I mean 10,000 jobs will be sustained over the course of the investment of these monies.
So, when we're looking though at a time when 50,000 jobs,
right.
You know, that's what this says, 50,000 net jobs, give or take, have been lost over the past 12 months. So there would still be 40,000 Albertans out of work then.
Yeah, and I think I tried to answer that earlier, and maybe I'll try it again. As a government, you know, it is difficult for anyone who loses their work. And those jobs are a problem for, losing those jobs are a problem for them and their families and their desire to make a positive impact on the world. The government of Alberta is doing what it can to create the climate for entrepreneurs to create more jobs, to create jobs. I took a small tour with the I took a brewery tour recently, and as a result of the Alberta Small Brewers Development Grant, I was in Red Deer, and the people at the brewery there said, you know, that your grant is going to allow us to hire a person full-time, and this is him right beside you. I know that's not a great deal, but we are creating the climate for entrepreneurs to hire people, and we are investing in this province in the capital infrastructure necessary to house Albertans in long-term care situations and seniors housing, to educate Albertans through schools and post-secondary, and to treat Albertans in hospitals. All of that investment will create jobs in the construction, in the supplies, in the materials, in other value chains that come together for construction and the development. So there will be jobs, but replacing all of the jobs that have been lost in this province is not realistic in terms of what the government of Alberta can do.
We'll do you for a last question.
Kind of a two-parter. So when you say we don't want to transfer this onto the shoulders of Albertans, can you explain exactly how creating tens of billions of dollars of debt is not putting it onto their shoulders?
We will continue to work to diversify the economy, to create a more stable platform for revenue generation in this province. It's too narrowly focused on one sector. As that sector is downturned, so has the revenues coming into this province. So in the short term, medium term perhaps, till we balance, we are looking at the necessity of borrowing to keep programs and services going so that Albertans won't suffer today, nor will they suffer in the future.
Okay, and do you feel kind of unlucky right now?
I am a finance minister in the best province in the world, best province in Canada. So no, I don't feel unlucky at all. I feel quite fortunate to work with the Government of Alberta public service employees who I am connected to. I feel quite lucky to have a premier, caucus, and cabinet who are passionate in their service of Albertans, to Albertans, and I feel quite lucky that Albertans elected us and we are doing the job we know needs to be done.
Do you sense public support for it? It's been a tough year. Do you sense that this plan has public support when you speak to people?
Yeah, you know, when I go around in my community in Calgary Fort and I see people taking their kids to school and know that those schools have teachers and are well outfitted. When I see that the city of Calgary, the east side of the city of Calgary, and the people I serve are employed, gainfully working, and looking for better opportunities for themselves and their families. I believe this plan is supported by the vast majority of Albertans. Yeah.
Thanks very much, everyone.
Thank you very much. Bye-bye.